The stars had never looked so beautiful. Captain Day stood on the bridge of the Horizon's Promise and watched the massive station grow larger in the view screen. Nexus Prime, the heart of the Galactic Council, home to 847 different alien species. And today, humanity would join them. At least, that was the hope. Ambassador Yuna walked up beside him. She wore her finest diplomatic uniform, dark blue with gold trim. Her hands shook slightly, though she tried to hide it. "Are we ready?" she asked. Day nodded. "The ship is ready. The crew is ready. Earth is watching." Behind them, Dr. Tay checked his datapad for the 100th time. He had spent 3 years preparing cultural files on every known council species. He knew their customs, their histories, their likes and dislikes. "Remember," he said quietly, "the Vril don't like direct eye contact. The Morphians communicate partly through light patterns. The Aethons, we know, Tay," Hana said gently. The engineer had worked for 5 years designing this ship. She had made sure every system was perfect. "We've practiced this 1,000 times. But practice and reality were different things." The Horizon's Promise docked with Nexus Prime. The airlock opened with a hiss. Day stepped through first, followed by Yuna and the rest of the delegation. 20 humans, representing 8 billion back home. The reception hall was enormous. The ceiling stretched up so high that clouds formed near the top. Beings of every shape and size filled the space. Some walked, some floated, some slithered. The air smelled strange, like flowers mixed with metal and something Day couldn't identify. A Vril approached them. It looked like a giant mantis, standing 3 meters tall on 4 legs. Its compound eyes reflected rainbow colors. When it spoke, a translation device on its chest turned the clicking sounds into words. "Welcome, humans. I am Counselor Vren. You will follow me." They followed. The other aliens watched them pass. Some seemed curious. Others seemed cold. A few turned away, as if humans weren't worth looking at. The evaluation took 30 days. Every day, different council members came to examine humanity. They asked thousands of questions. They studied human art, music, literature, science. They wanted to know about human wars, human governments, human religions. They tested human technology and compared it to their own standards. Yuna presented Earth's greatest achievements. She showed them recordings of the United Earth government forming. She played Beethoven and showed them paintings by masters from every continent. She explained how humans had ended world hunger, cured most diseases, and began to explore their own solar system. Tay talked about human diversity. He explained how 8 billion people spoke thousands of languages, followed hundreds of different beliefs, and yet worked together. "We are not perfect," he admitted, "but we try to be better every day." Hana demonstrated human engineering. She showed them the Horizon's Promise and explained how humans had developed faster than light travel in just 50 years. "We learn quickly," she said with pride. The council members listened. They took notes. They discussed things in languages the translation devices couldn't handle. Sometimes they argued among themselves, their voices rising in strange harmonies and dissonant sounds. On the 20th day, Counselor Vren took Yuna aside. "Your species is young," he said. "Very young. The council has existed for 50,000 of your years. We have seen many species rise and fall. We must be careful. And we have seen many species. We have seen. 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 We understand," Yuna replied. "That's why we're here. To learn from you. To grow with your guidance." Vren's antennae twitched. In Vril culture, that meant uncertainty. "Perhaps," was all he said. On the 30th day, the council called for a final assembly. The humans gathered in the Great Hall again. This time, All 847 species sent representatives. The room buzzed with conversation in 1,000 different sounds. A Morphean floated to the center. Its crystalline body pulsed with soft blue light. "We have completed our evaluation of the human species," it announced. Its voice sounded like wind chimes. "We will now share our decision." Day felt his heart pounding. Beside him, Yuna stood perfectly still. Tay held his breath. "Humanity has achieved much in a short time," the Morphean continued. "They have developed technology at an impressive rate. They have art and culture. They have begun to unite their world." Yuna started to smile. "However," the Morphean said, and that one word dropped like a stone, "the Council has concerns. Serious concerns." The blue light turned red. "Humanity is too violent. Their history is filled with wars, conflicts, and bloodshed. Even now, with a united government, they maintain massive military forces. They have weapons that could destroy their own world many times over. But we haven't used those weapons in decades," Yuna protested. "We learned from our mistakes." "Silence," an Aethon commanded, the gaseous being swirled in its containment field. "You will hear our full judgment," the Morphean continued. "Humanity is too unpredictable. They change rapidly. Too rapidly. Their governments rise and fall. Their beliefs shift. They cannot be trusted to remain stable. That's called growth," Tay said quietly. But no one listened. "Humanity is reckless," a reptilian being added. "They achieved space travel and immediately began spreading to other worlds in their system. They develop new technologies without fully understanding the consequences. They are, in the words of the Council's evaluation team, children playing with fusion bombs." The room filled with murmurs. Many aliens nodded or made their species equivalent gesture of agreement. The Morphean's light grew brighter. "Therefore, the Galactic Council has reached its decision. Humanity is hereby rejected for membership. They are forbidden from colonizing beyond their home system. They are barred from Council trade networks, technology exchanges, and protection. A containment field will be established at the edge of their solar system. This quarantine will remain in effect until humanity proves itself worthy. This may take centuries, or millennia, or never." The words hit like physical blows. Yuna stepped forward. "Please," she said, her voice breaking. "Give us a chance. We can prove ourselves. We can change. We just need guidance. Not isolation. The decision is final," the Morphean said. Its light dimmed. "You have 3 days to leave Council space." Day watched as Councillor Vren turned away. The Vril wouldn't meet his eyes. Other council members filed out of the hall, already discussing other business. To them, humanity was finished, forgotten. The delegation returned to the Horizon's promise in silence. Hana cried quietly at her station. Tay stared at his datapad. At all his useless research, Day sat in the captain's chair and wondered how to tell 8 billion people that they weren't good enough. Yuna stood at the view screen, watching Nexus Prime shrink behind them. "They didn't even give us a chance," she whispered. "They judged us for what we were, not what we could become." 3 days later, they crossed back into human space. The containment field activated behind them. A wall of energy that stretched across the entire solar system. A prison made of light. Earth received the news. 8 billion people learned that the galaxy had rejected them. That they were considered too dangerous, too violent, too young to join the community of stars. Some people cried. Some grew angry. Some simply gave up hope. But a few, a small group scattered across Earth and its colonies, felt something else. They felt determination. The galaxy had said no, had called humans children, had locked them away like dangerous animals. They would prove the galaxy wrong, no matter how long it took. 15 years had passed since the rejection. 15 long, bitter years. Admiral Sung stood in the command center on Luna Base and looked at the reports. Food production was down again. The Mars colonies were struggling. Europa needed supplies they couldn't spare, and beyond the edge of the solar system, the containment field glowed with a constant reminder of their prison. Sung was only 35. But he looked older. The stress had aged him. His aunt, Ambassador Yuna, had retired years ago. She rarely left her apartment in Beijing. Some said the rejection had broken her heart. "Sir, we have another protest in New York," an officer reported. "The free expansion movement. They're demanding we break through the barrier." Sung nodded tiredly. The protests happened every week now. Some people wanted to prove themselves worthy. Others wanted to smash through the containment field and take what they wanted from the galaxy. The population was divided, angry, and losing hope. "Let them protest," Sung said. "Just make sure it stays peaceful." On Mars, in a secret laboratory buried under the red soil, Mina worked late into the night. She had been studying the containment field for 12 years. Every night, the same thing. Every night, trying to understand the technology that trapped humanity. Her team thought she was obsessed. They were right. "Mina, go home," her assistant said. "You need sleep." "In a minute," Mina replied, her eyes locked on her screens. She was looking at energy patterns, wave frequencies, dimensional readings. The Council's technology was advanced. Everyone said so. Everyone believed it. But Mina saw something different. "It's not more advanced," she muttered to herself. "It's just different." Her assistant came over. "What did you say?" Mina pointed at the screen. "Look at this. The containment field doesn't block matter. It doesn't create a solid wall. It disrupts faster than light engines. Specifically, it disrupts the type of FTL that the Council uses." "So you're saying—" "I'm saying we've been trying to copy their technology, trying to match their methods. But what if we went a completely different direction?" The assistant looked skeptical. "Mina, we've been working on FTL for 50 years. The Council has been doing it for thousands of years. What makes you think we can find a better way?" Mina smiled for the first time in months. "Because we have to. Because we have no choice. Because when you're trapped in a box, you either accept it or you find a way out." She worked for 3 more years. Her team joined her, slowly believing in her vision. They stopped trying to copy Council technology. Instead, they went back to basic physics. They explored theories that the Council had probably never considered. They asked questions that seemed stupid or impossible. What if faster-than-light travel didn't have to bend space? What if it could fold dimensions instead? What if there were shortcuts through reality itself that the Council had never discovered? On Earth, things were getting worse. Dr. Sora, a psychologist, published a study that shocked the government. Depression rates had tripled since the rejection. Suicide rates were climbing. People felt worthless, unwanted, like children who had been told they would never grow up. "We need to give people hope," Sora told the United Earth Council. Something to believe in. But what goal could they offer? They were trapped. Alone. Rejected by 847 different species, who all agreed that humanity wasn't good enough. Jay, leader of the free expansion movement, had a different answer. He gave speeches to crowds of thousands. "They locked us in here because they fear us," he shouted. "They fear our potential. They fear what we could become. We don't need their permission. We don't need their approval. We need to break free." His followers cheered. The government worried. Sung increased security patrols and prayed that civil war wouldn't break out. Then, in 2302, everything changed. A rogue asteroid appeared on the edge of the solar system. It was massive, 3 kilometers wide, and heading straight for Earth. Impact in 6 months. The United Earth government sent an emergency message to the Galactic Council. "We need help. Please. An asteroid threatens our homeworld. Millions will die. We are asking for humanitarian assistance. The reply came 3 days later. It was brief. The quarantine remains in effect. The asteroid is within your solar system. Therefore, it is your responsibility. The Council will not intervene. We hope you survive. But if you do not, it will prove that our decision was correct. The message played on every screen, every device, everywhere on Earth. 8 billion people heard the galaxy tell them that their lives didn't matter. Sung called an emergency meeting. Military commanders, scientists, engineers, everyone who could help. We have 6 months, he said. Can we stop it? The answer should have been no. The asteroid was too big, moving too fast. Humanity had never attempted anything like this before, but they had no choice. Hana, now chief engineer of the Earth Defense Force, designed a plan. We can't destroy it, but we can move it. We'll use every fusion engine we have. Every ship. We'll attach them to the asteroid and push. That's insane, someone said. We'd need hundreds of ships. Thousands of people. The radiation exposure alone. Then we'll die trying, Hana snapped. What's the alternative? Give up? Prove the Council, right? They didn't give up. Every spacecraft that could fly joined the effort. Cargo ships, military vessels, personal shuttles. Even the old colony transports that were supposed to be retired. Thousands of volunteers suited up and flew toward the asteroid. Mina watched from Mars and made a decision. Launch the prototype, she told her team. What? No, we haven't finished testing. We don't even know if it works. Then we find out now, Mina said. The prototype was small, barely large enough for 3 people. It used the new engine. The skip drive, they called it. It didn't bend space like council ships. It folded dimensions, stepping sideways through reality. If it worked, it could reach the asteroid in hours instead of weeks. If it didn't work, the crew would die, or disappear, or something worse that physics couldn't predict. Mina volunteered to pilot it herself. Her team tried to stop her, but she was determined. Someone has to test it. It might as well be me. The skip drive activated. Reality twisted. The ship disappeared from Mars and reappeared near the asteroid. Not beside it. Not around it. But inside. The safe zone, where radiation was minimal. It worked. Mina's laughter echoed over the communications channel. We did it! We actually did it! With the skip drive ship guiding them, the effort became coordinated. Hana's plan worked. Thousands of engines fired together. Slowly, painfully slowly, the asteroid changed course. 1 degree. Then another. Then another. 6 months later, it passed Earth at a safe distance. Close enough that people could see it in the sky. Far enough that the planet survived. 8 billion people celebrated. They had saved themselves. Without the Council. Without anyone's help. Sung stood on Luna Base and watched the celebrations. Beside him, Mina stood quietly. The skip drive worked, he said. Better than we could have hoped. It did, Mina agreed. Can you build more? Yes. Can you build enough to take us beyond the containment field? Mina looked at him carefully. Are you asking me to break the quarantine? Sung was quiet for a long moment. The Council left us to die. They didn't care if an asteroid destroyed our world. They don't see us as people, just as a problem to contain. So, what do you want to do? I want to survive, Sung said. I want humanity to thrive. If the galaxy won't let us join them, then we'll build our own path. Quietly. Carefully. But we will not stay in this prison. Mina smiled. It was not a kind smile. It was the smile of someone who had been pushed too far and was finally pushing back. Then let's get started. In her apartment in Beijing, Yuna watched the news reports about the asteroid. She saw the celebrations. She saw the hope returning to people's faces, and for the first time in 15 years, she allowed herself to believe. Maybe the rejection had been the best thing that ever happened to humanity. Maybe being told no was exactly what they needed to hear. Maybe, just maybe, the galaxy had made a terrible mistake. Captain Wu checked his instruments one last time. The skip drive was charged. The crew was ready. Outside the viewport, the containment field glowed like a wall of fire. "This is either going to work," he said, "or we're about to become a very interesting physics experiment." His co-pilot, Nari, laughed nervously. "I vote for it working. Engineering, status?" Wu called. "Skip drive at full power." Hana's voice came through the speakers. She was monitoring from Luna Base. "Remember, you're not going through the field. You're going around it. Sideways, through folded space. Don't think about it too hard, or you'll get a headache." "Too late for that," Wu muttered. He pressed the activation button. Reality twisted. The ship didn't move forward. It didn't move at all. In the traditional sense, it simply stopped being in one place and started being in another. When the world stopped spinning, they were on the other side of the containment field. In open space. Free. "It worked," Nari whispered. "Oh my God. It actually worked." Wu grinned. "Luna Base. This is Pathfinder 1. We are beyond the containment field. Repeat. We are free and clear." The communications channel exploded with cheers. That was 16 years ago. Now, in 2318, humanity had over 200 secret colonies scattered across the galaxy. Colonies on worlds the Council had deemed worthless. Wu stood on one of those worlds now. Ashgrave, they called it. The Council had surveyed it 3,000 years ago and marked it as uninhabitable. High radiation. Toxic atmosphere. Constant volcanic activity. Worthless. But humans saw potential. They built underground habitats. They used the volcanic heat for power. They processed the toxic atmosphere into useful chemicals. They turned radiation into a resource instead of a threat. Within 5 years, Ashgrave had a population of 50,000. "The Council's definition of worthless and ours are very different," Nari said. She was the colony's chief terraforming specialist now. "They only want perfect worlds. We know how to make imperfect worlds work." Wu nodded. "That's because they've forgotten how to struggle. When everything is easy, you stop learning to adapt." Wu nodded. "Wu, too?" Wu nodded. The real discovery came 3 years into the expansion. Wu's ship had been exploring an asteroid field that the Council maps showed as empty. But his sensors detected something. A small station. Old. Hidden. When they docked, they found people. Not humans. Aliens. But not Council species. The leader called herself Krell. She looked reptilian, with dark scales and golden eyes. When she spoke, her voice was rough, like stone grinding on stone. When the leader, "You are not Council," she said. It wasn't a question. "No," Wu replied. "We're human. From Earth. We were rejected by the Council." Krell's eyes widened. "Rejected? Recently?" "About 20 years ago." Krell made a sound that might have been laughter, or crying. 20 years. We were rejected 3,000 years ago. And you have already escaped? Remarkable. Over the next months, Wu learned the truth. The galaxy was full of rejected species. Hundreds of them. Maybe thousands. All living in the margins. In the spaces between Council worlds. Surviving but never thriving. Accepting their fate. The Krell had been rejected for being too aggressive. The Vanir. A species of 6-limbed beings covered in fur, had been rejected for being too individualistic. The Drift, creatures that lived in space without ships, had been rejected for being too alien. "Why didn't you fight back?" Wu asked Krell one day. Fight the council? Krell seemed shocked by the idea. That would be suicide. They are too powerful. Too many. We survive by hiding. What if you didn't have to hide? What do you mean? Wu smiled. What if all the rejected species worked together? What if we built our own civilization? Not in hiding, but openly. What if we proved that being different isn't the same as being wrong? Krell was silent for a long time. Humans really are different, she finally said. Most rejected species learn to accept their place, to be grateful for being allowed to survive. But you refuse to accept. Is that bad? I don't know, Krell admitted. But it is interesting. News spread quickly through the hidden networks of rejected species. Humans were building colonies on worthless worlds. They were sharing technology. They were offering something new. Hope. More species came. Some were curious. Some were desperate. Some simply wanted to believe that things could be different. Hyun, a human intelligence officer, set up networks to track council patrols. He learned their patterns, their routes, their blind spots. He taught the other rejected species how to hide their communications, their ships, their colonies. The council doesn't patrol these areas often, he explained at a meeting of what they now called the Coalition of Free Worlds. They think these regions are worthless, so they ignore them. That's our advantage. A Vanir named Sketh asked, but what happens when they discover us? When they learn that humans and others are colonizing without permission? Then we deal with it, Wu said simply. They almost got caught once. A council patrol ship wandered into the Ashgrave system. 50,000 people held their breath and waited. The patrol ship scanned the system. Its sensors showed exactly what the council expected to see. A worthless world with high radiation and volcanic activity. Nothing of value. Nothing worth investigating. The ship moved on. That was too close, Nari said, shaking, but Hyun was smiling. Do you know what this proves? The council sees what they expect to see. They scanned a world with 50,000 people and saw nothing. Because they believe these worlds are empty. Their arrogance is our shield, Wu agreed. The coalition grew. 47 species, 200 worlds, secret trade routes, shared technology. The humans taught the skip drive to anyone who wanted to learn. In return, they learned technologies and techniques from species that had survived for millennia. The Krell taught humans how to build in extreme environments. The Vanir shared their expertise in energy efficiency. The Drift showed them how to detect gravity wells and navigate through dangerous space. And slowly, carefully, a new civilization was born. Not council, not human. Something new. Something united not by acceptance, but by shared rejection. Wu stood on Ashgrave and looked up at the sky. Somewhere out there, the council was conducting business as usual. Trading. Negotiating. Believing they ruled the galaxy. They had no idea what was growing in the shadows. On Luna Base, Admiral Sung reviewed the latest reports. The expansion was going better than anyone had hoped. Resources were flowing. Populations were growing. The coalition was strong. Do you ever worry we're going too fast? Hana asked him. She had come to Luna to oversee new skip drive construction. Every day, Sung admitted. But what's the alternative? Stay in our prison? Accept what they told us we were? No, Hana said firmly. Never that. Then we keep moving forward. Carefully, but forward. In her apartment in Beijing, Yuna received visitors. Wu and Krell had come to Earth in secret. They wanted her to see what humanity had accomplished. Yuna was 89 years old now. Her hair was white. Her hands shook, but her eyes were still sharp. You've built a coalition, she said. Without the council. Without permission. We've built more than that, Wu replied. We've built hope. Not just for humans. For everyone. The council rejected. Krell added, Ambassador, your species refused to accept the galaxy's judgment. That refusal saved my people. Gave us something we'd lost centuries ago. Pride. Yuna felt tears on her cheeks. I thought I had failed. When the council rejected us, I thought it was my fault. That I hadn't argued well enough. Hadn't shown them the best of humanity. You showed them exactly what they needed to see, Wu said gently. A species that wouldn't give up. That wouldn't accept being told no. The rejection wasn't your failure. It was their mistake. And now? Now we're proving them wrong. Every day. Every colony. Every species that joins us. Yuna looked at the data pads they had brought. Maps of colonies. Population figures. Trade agreements. Technology exchanges. A civilization growing in secret. In the places the council had forgotten. How long do you think we have? She asked. Before they discover us? Wu and Krell exchanged glances. Not much longer, Wu admitted. We've been lucky. But luck runs out. And when they find us, then we show them what we've become, Krell said. Her voice was hard. Determined. We show them that their rejection made us stronger. Yuna nodded slowly. I wish I could see it. The day they realize their mistake. You will, Wu promised. I'll make sure of it. Outside, Earth turned in its orbit. On the edge of the solar system, the containment field still glowed. Still trapped humanity in their home system. But beyond that field, in the dark spaces between stars, on worlds deemed worthless and in hidden stations scattered across the void, 200 colonies thrived, and they were ready for whatever came next. The Council scout ship entered the Ashgrave system, expecting nothing. Its crew of 3 Morphians barely paid attention to their sensors. This was a routine patrol through worthless space. They had done it 100 times before. Then the sensors started screaming. Impossible, the pilot said, its crystalline body flashing orange with surprise. There are structures on the surface. Thousands of them. Check for malfunction, the captain ordered. No malfunction. I'm reading power signatures. Life signs. Ships. This planet is inhabited. By who? What species? The pilot enhanced the scans. Then its light turned white with shock. Humans. And others. Krell. Vanir. Drift. Captain. There's a city down there. A city on a world that should be uninhabitable. The captain immediately sent a priority message to Nexus Prime. Then it moved the ship closer. Scanning everything. More surprises appeared. Orbital stations. Mining operations. Ships coming and going. This wasn't a secret outpost. This was a thriving colony. How long has this been here? The captain wondered aloud. The answer came 3 days later, when Council warships arrived. Military vessels. Heavy cruisers. Battle carriers. 300 ships total, led by High Commander Vex. A massive being that looked like living metal. Humans, Vex announced over all frequencies. You have violated the quarantine. You have colonized without permission. The Council has authorized the cleansing directive. You will abandon this world immediately, or be destroyed. On Ashgrave, alarms blared. Captain Wu was already in the command center. How many ships? He asked. 300. Hyun replied. The intelligence officer's face was pale. They brought an entire battle fleet. Get everyone to the shelters, and send the signal. The signal went out across the Coalition's secret network, to 200 worlds, to 47 different species, to every ship that could fly. This is Ashgrave. We are under attack. We need help. Fleet Admiral Day was on Luna Base when the message arrived. He was 72 years old now, but he still commanded Earth's defense forces. The moment he heard, he knew this day had finally come. Launch everything, he ordered. Every ship, every weapon. Get me to the Ashgrave system now. Hana was already preparing the fleet. Sir, even with skip drives, we need 3 hours to reach them. Ashgrave will be under attack before we arrive. Then they need to hold for 3 hours. Day said grimly. On Ashgrave, Wu watched the council fleet approach. Beside him, Krell stood ready. Nari checked the colony's defenses for the 10th time. They think this will be easy, Wu said. They think we're helpless. Aren't we? Nari asked. 300 ships against what? We have maybe 50 vessels here. Mining ships? Cargo haulers. Nothing designed for war. Wu smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. The council has been at peace for 10,000 years. They've forgotten what desperation looks like. The council fleet opened fire. Energy beams and missiles streaked toward the colony. But Ashgrave's shields held. They weren't council shields. They were something new. Something adapted from veneer technology and improved by human engineering. Return fire, Wu ordered. Ashgrave's defense platforms activated. Railguns using Krell gravity technology. Energy weapons designed by the drift. Missiles with skip-drive warheads that appeared inside council shields before detonating. 3 council ships exploded in the first minute. High Commander Vex watched in surprise as his fleet took damage. What is this? These are mining ships and cargo vessels. They shouldn't have military-grade weapons. Wud. Sir, their technology is different from ours. Our shields aren't blocking their attacks effectively. Then adjust. Adapt. Destroy them. But the battle wasn't going as expected. The human ships were fast. Too fast. They used skip drives to appear, fire, and disappear before council ships could lock on. They fought dirty, using the volcanic eruptions as cover, hiding in radiation storms that council sensors couldn't penetrate. A human cargo ship rammed a council cruiser. The cruiser's shields had been designed to stop energy weapons, not physical impacts at relativistic speeds. Both ships exploded. But the council lost more. They fight like madmen, Vex said. Like they have nothing to lose. They don't, his second-in-command replied. We told them to surrender or die. So they chose neither. Then the coalition arrived. Ships from 47 species, hundreds of vessels. They weren't military ships. They were whatever could fly. But they came anyway. Because Ashgrave had asked for help. Because humans had given them hope. Because they were tired of hiding. Suddenly, Vex's 300 ships faced over 500 defenders. And the defenders knew the terrain, used the radiation, understood that in desperate times, a mining laser could become a weapon. The Battle of Ashgrave lasted 6 hours. When it ended, both sides had lost ships. But the council fleet retreated. For the first time, in 10,000 years, they retreated. Wu watched them go. Around him, the command center was silent. We won, Nari whispered. No, Wu said quietly. We survived. That's different. They'll be back, with more ships, more firepower. We bought time, nothing more. But across the galaxy, billions of beings watched recordings of the battle. The footage had leaked somehow. Maybe intentionally, maybe not. But everyone saw it. Council species, and rejected species alike. They saw 300 council ships attack a single colony. They saw that colony fight back. They saw the council retreat. Protests began on council worlds. Young beings, from hundreds of species, questioned why the council feared humans so much. Questioned why they had rejected them in the first place. Erin, a human diplomat, saw the opportunity. She broadcasted a message across every channel she could access. Her face appeared on screens throughout the galaxy. We are human, she said simply. 23 years ago, the council rejected us, called us too violent, too dangerous, too different. They locked us in our home system and told us to prove ourselves worthy. But how could we prove anything while imprisoned? So we did what humans do. We adapted. We survived. We found others like us. Species the council had also rejected. And together, we built something new. She showed footage of the coalition, of humans and Krell working together, of Vanir teaching humans, of Drift sharing their knowledge, of 200 worlds where different species lived in peace. We don't seek war, Aaron continued. We seek freedom. The freedom to exist, to grow, to be different without being punished for it. The Council says we're too dangerous. But who attacked whom? Who brought warships? Who ordered destruction? We only defended our homes, our right to exist. Her message ended with a simple statement. We are not asking for permission anymore. We are simply being ourselves. If the Council wants peace, we offer peace. But if they want war, they will find we are harder to destroy than they think. The message spread like fire. Millions debated it. Some called humans arrogant. Others called them brave. But everyone was talking about it. We relieved the purses. Alder 70 well 7. The message problem. On Nexus Prime, the Council was in chaos. Councillor Vren watched as his colleagues argued. Half wanted to send more ships, to destroy the humans and their coalition, once and for all. Half wanted to negotiate, to find a peaceful solution. This is your fault, a hardliner accused Vren. You were on the original evaluation team. You should have seen this coming. I did see it, Vren said quietly. That's why I voted to reject them. Because I knew they wouldn't accept rejection quietly. Because I knew they were dangerous. And now? Vren was quiet for a moment. Now, I think perhaps we were wrong. Not about them being dangerous, but about danger being bad. The Council has been safe for 10,000 years. But maybe we've been too safe. Maybe we've become weak. The argument continued for days, then weeks. The Council was divided down the middle. For the first time in recorded history, they couldn't agree on what to do. Meanwhile, Vren did something he had never done before. He went to human space without authorization. He traveled to Luna Base and requested a meeting with Fleet Admiral Day. They met in a simple conference room. Two old soldiers, on opposite sides of an impossible situation. Why are you here? Day asked. To understand, Vren replied. 23 years ago, I voted to reject your species. I believed we were right. I believed you were too dangerous to join us. And now I've watched you survive what should have destroyed you. I've watched you build where we saw only worthlessness. I've watched you unite species that we abandoned. And I'm starting to think the Council made a terrible mistake. Day leaned back. So what happens now? War, Vren said bluntly. Unless something changes. The hardliners want you destroyed. They fear what you represent. Change. The end of their power. Can you stop them? No. But you can. If you're willing to do something crazy. We're humans, Day said with a slight smile. Crazy is what we do best, Vren explained. There was an ancient threat. Something the Council had buried in classified files. Something they hoped would never wake up. But it was waking up, and neither the Council nor the Coalition could stop it alone. Help us, Vren said. Prove that cooperation is stronger than division. Show the galaxy that humans aren't the enemy. Day looked at the Vril counselor carefully. And if we succeed? Then maybe, Vren said slowly, the galaxy will be ready to change. The ancient machines appeared without warning. They came from the galactic core, where no one had explored in thousands of years. Massive spheres of black metal, each one the size of a moon. They didn't communicate. They didn't negotiate. They simply destroyed everything in their path. The Council called them the Void Scourge. Defense systems from before the Council existed, designed to protect the galaxy from some long-forgotten threat. But they had malfunctioned. Now they saw all advanced life as the enemy. In 3 months, they destroyed 17 Council worlds, killed billions. Missiles were intercepted by point defense systems. Ships that got too close simply vanished, pulled into some kind of gravitational anomaly. The Council was losing. In the coalition, the news came through Vren's secret channels. Day called an emergency meeting. Every coalition leader gathered, either in person or through hologram. Representatives from the Vanir, the Drift, and 44 other species. The Council is asking for help, Day announced. The room erupted in shock and anger. Let them burn, someone shouted. They rejected us, tried to destroy us. They called us worthless, another added. Why should we help? Day waited for the noise to die down. Because if the Scourge destroys the Council, it won't stop there. It will come for us next. For everyone. This isn't about the Council anymore. It's about survival. Krell spoke up. The Admiral is right. These machines don't care about politics. About who rejected whom. They kill everything. If we want to survive, we need to work together. Work with the Council? A Vanir asked. After everything? Yes. Wu said firmly. Not because we forgive them, but because we're better than they are. They rejected us out of fear. We'll save them out of courage. The debate went on for hours. Finally, they voted. It was close, but the coalition agreed to help. On Nexus Prime, the Council received the message. Many counselors refused to believe it. The humans were offering help? After being attacked? After being rejected? It's a trick, some said. They want us weakened so they can strike, but Vren argued differently. Or maybe they're showing us what we should have seen 23 years ago. That they're better than we gave them credit for. The Council accepted. They had no choice. The Void Scourge was winning. The combined fleet gathered at the Dying Stars system, where the Scourge had been spotted heading next. 5 Council worlds were there. 2 billion people. If those worlds fell, the Council would collapse. Admiral Day commanded the coalition forces. 300 ships. Not massive warships like the Council had, but quick vessels with skip drives and weapons designed by dozens of different species, each bringing their own unique approach. High Commander Vex led the Council fleet. 800 ships. The biggest, most powerful vessels the Council could gather. This is strange, Vex said today over a private channel. Fighting beside those we tried to destroy. Strange times make strange allies. Day replied. Let's just focus on not dying. Day. The Void Scourge arrived right on schedule. 23 massive spheres. Each one bristling with weapons. Each one protected by shields that had lasted 10,000 years. The Council fleet attacked first. Energy beams that could melt planets. Missiles that could crack moons. The most powerful weapons in the galaxy. The Scourge barely noticed. Their shields held. Then they fired back. Council ships exploded. Dozens in the first minute. The Council formation broke apart in panic. Fall back, Vex ordered. But the coalition didn't fall back. Instead, they did something the Scourge didn't expect. They got creative. Wu led his squadron directly toward a Scourge sphere. Everyone remember the plan. These machines are old. They were built to fight enemies that attacked head-on. So, we don't do that. The coalition ships split up. Used skip drives to appear and disappear randomly. Fired from unexpected angles. Distracted the Scourge, while others moved into position. A Vanir ship used its energy absorption technology to drain power from a Scourge shield generator. Just for a second. Just long enough for a human missile to slip through and damage the sphere's surface. It worked, Nari shouted from her ship. The shields have weak points. They're not perfect. The drift ships, which could move through space without traditional engines, positioned themselves in the blind spots of Scourge sensors. They became spotters, calling out targeting information to Council heavy weapons. Krell vessels, small and armored, flew close enough to map the Scourge point defense patterns. They learned the rhythm, found the gaps, and humans? Humans did what they always did. They adapted. They improvised. They tried things that should have been impossible. One human captain named Tay deliberately flew his damaged ship into a scourge gravitational trap. Everyone thought he was doomed, but he activated his skip drive at the last second, appearing inside the trap's generator and destroying it from within. His ship was destroyed, but the trap was gone. The Council fleet, watching this, learned. They stopped trying to overpower the scourge. Instead, they followed the Coalition's example, used precision instead of power, worked together instead of each ship fighting alone. Slowly, painfully, they started winning. Day and Vex coordinated their forces. The Admiral from Earth and the Commander from the Council, working as partners instead of enemies. Council firepower, combined with Coalition creativity, different approaches becoming stronger together than either could be alone. The battle lasted 3 days. When it ended, all 23 Scourge spheres were destroyed. But the cost was heavy. The Coalition lost 80 ships. The Council lost 300. Thousands dead on both sides. But 2 billion people on 5 worlds survived. On the flagship, Day and Vex met in person for the first time since the battle began. Both were exhausted. Both had lost friends. "You saved us," Vex said simply. "After we tried to destroy you." "Why?" "Because that's what people do," Day replied. "Real people. Not machines. Not bureaucracies. People help each other. The Council was wrong about humans." "Yes, you were." Vex was quiet for a moment. "What happens now?" "Now we talk," Day said. "Really talk. Not councils judging others. Not hierarchies deciding who is worthy. But equals, discussing how to build something better." The negotiations took 3 years. 3 long, difficult years. The Council was divided. Some species wanted to maintain the old ways. Others saw that change was necessary. Some supported humans. Others still feared them. But slowly, agreements formed. Compromises happened. New ideas emerged. Ambassador Yuna came out of retirement for the final negotiations. She was 91 years old now, in a wheelchair. But her mind was sharp. She sat across from Councillor Vren and 36 other representatives. 27 years ago, she began, "You rejected humanity, told us we weren't good enough. It hurt, it made us angry, but it also made us grow. We were wrong," Vren admitted. "We judged you by our standards, instead of seeing your potential. Yes, you were wrong. But we weren't perfect either. We were violent. Reckless. Everything you said was true. The difference is, we didn't let your rejection define us. We let it refine us." She presented the new proposal. The Galactic Council would be dissolved. In its place, the new Galactic Assembly. No species could be permanently rejected. Instead, younger species would receive mentorship, support, and time to develop. Multiple paths to advancement would be recognized. "The galaxy is big enough for different approaches," Yuna said. "The Council's way worked for them. Our way worked for us. Others will find their own ways. That's not chaos. That's growth." The vote took 6 months. In the end, 424 Council species voted for the change. 423 voted against. 1 vote. That's all it came down to. The Accords of New Dawn were signed on a neutral station, built jointly by Council and Coalition engineers. Leaders from over 900 species attended. Some came to celebrate. Some came out of curiosity. Some came because they didn't want to be left behind. Yuna gave the inaugural address. Day stood beside her, supporting her when she needed to stand. Vren was there too, now a co-chair of the new assembly. "We were rejected," Yuna said, her voice carrying across the vast hall and to billions watching across the galaxy. "They told us we were too violent, too young, too different. And you know what? I'm grateful," the audience murmured in surprise, "because that rejection taught us something the Council had forgotten. That worth isn't given by others. It's built by yourself. That being different isn't a flaw. It's a strength, that when someone tells you no, you have two choices. She smiled. Humanity chose to prove them wrong. Not through conquest, not through revenge, but by being ourselves, by building, by helping others, by showing that the outcasts and the rejected can create something beautiful. The new Galactic Assembly isn't about humans replacing the Council. It's about all of us building something better together, where young species get guidance, not judgment, where different approaches are celebrated, not feared, where rejection isn't the end, it's the beginning. The applause was thunderous. In the years that followed, the galaxy changed, slowly, not without problems. There were still conflicts, still disagreements, but they were handled differently. Admiral Sung became the first Prime Coordinator, elected by the Assembly. He served 5 years, then stepped down, letting a Morphean take his place. Leadership rotated. No one species dominated. The coalition of free worlds integrated into the Assembly, but kept its identity. A reminder of what could be built when outcasts worked together. Humanity spread across the galaxy. But not as conquerors. As partners. As friends. As the species that had been rejected and refused to stay down. 27 years after the rejection, on a warm spring day in Beijing, Yuna sat in her garden. She was 93 now. Her body was failing. But she was content. Un, a young woman of 25, sat beside her. "Grandmother," she said gently, "your transport is ready. Are you sure you want to make this journey?" "Very sure," Yuna replied. "I want to see what's out there. Beyond the galaxy's edge. Where others might be waiting to be found. The doctors say you might not survive the trip. Then I'll die exploring." "That seems fitting." Un smiled. She was a captain now, leading a joint human-alien crew on exploration missions, looking for other rejected species, bringing them into the Assembly, giving them what humanity had fought for, a chance. "Tell me," Yuna said. "What's it like out there? Beyond Council space, beyond Coalition territory, in the real unknown." "It's beautiful," Un said, "and full of possibilities, just like you always said it would be." "Good. That's good." They sat in comfortable silence for a while. Then Yuna spoke again. "When they rejected us, I thought my life's work had failed. That I had failed. I carried that guilt for years. You didn't fail. No, I didn't. Neither did Day, or Wu, or Sung, or any of the others. We all played our parts. The Council rejected humanity. And humanity rejected that rejection. That's the real story. And now? Now humanity goes exploring. Building. Growing. Helping others. Being ourselves. That's all we ever needed to do. Yuna died 3 months later, aboard Un's ship, traveling through uncharted space. They found her in the observation deck, looking out at the stars, a smile on her face. They scattered her ashes in the space between galaxies, where the rejected species had built their civilization, where humanity had proven what they could become. And across 900 worlds, in the new Galactic Assembly, billions of beings paused to remember the woman who had been rejected by the galaxy and refused to accept it, who had lived to see her species not just join the galactic community, but help redefine what that community could be. The galaxy had rejected humanity. But humanity had rejected that rejection, and in doing so, had shown the galaxy something it had forgotten. That being told no is only the end if you let it be. For humanity, it had been a beginning.